If you look historically around Indian elections, markets tend to do well heading into the elections, which we are seeing currently as well. But to your point, I think the fact that market is expecting policy continuity, that seems to be already in the price, right? So, which is why I think if you look at the volatility in the markets, that's pretty much low compared to the previous election cycles. Our own sense is that you don't have a huge market moves heading into the elections, probably still a little bit of upward bias. But in general, what should happen is that you should start flows coming back, see flows coming back in, right, heading into the elections and after the election as well. So I think foreigners have been still staying on the sidelines in India. We think that will start to change as we start getting closer to the elections. And so that, from a flow backdrop, I think that will be good for the markets.
And what sectors are you betting on would really get a facelift? Because if sources are to be believed, the first 100 days is when we'll get the major chunk of the reforms. Prime Minister Modi... Announcements, sorry.
That's the key thing.
That's the key thing, yeah. If Prime Minister Modi comes back, right, there's a big if to that. But the first 100 days is when they're going to really push the pedal on reforms that are much expected. And of course, then lay out the vision for 2047. So from that standpoint, what are the sectors that you would be betting on?
Yeah, look, I mean, the government has already been talking about it, right? And if you go past and look at the past couple of sort of terms from Prime Minister Modi, I think there has been a sort of continuity in terms of what they have been saying, right? So our sense is that I think post the elections also, you will probably continue to have focus on sort of not just reforms, but infrastructure spending, sort of continue to sort of make progress on the key initiatives they have mentioned in the 2047. But in terms of sectors, I would say, in general, we continue to favor the domestic sectors in the market. That would across a variety of sectors, but that would include things like autos, things like insurance, things like telcos, utilities. So I think a host of domestic sectors should benefit in general from the pro-growth policies. I think from a market standpoint, one of the key views we have coming into the year is that you should see a rotation in the markets, because last year for India, it was the year of mid and small caps, right? And that seems to be changing already. Over the past 1 month, we've already seen a correction in some of the mid or small and mid cap stocks. We think as you get closer to into the year, or deeper into the year, you probably will see large caps within these sectors perform well, and that already has been happening. So I think that's where the focus would be.
Okay.